old-fashioned religious type of meditation that you showed us like at the end, the kind of guru type thing, and Twitter and Facebook. I'm not quite sure how they both qualify as the same process. Perhaps if you could elaborate.
All of that's what Ajit was a couple of questions, but then we'll take a look around. Just behind there, and
This is both for Ajit and Luke. I've been doing improvisational theatre for some time as a hobby, and I think it's a great way to achieve extreme mindfulness. So that's a way. But also a great art form that actually develops brain, linked to also to your topic of more expand the brain and achieve the original message. So it actually touches all of them. But I want your views on improvisational theatre as a practice, because I found it quite new. It's not that popular, and I think it has a lot of potential. So I would like your views on that.
Hi, question for Ajit. The Holocene technology, enhancing the brain's functioning via meditation use, you are aware of that technology. Could you let me know any updates or developments on that aspect of meditation, stroke, neuroscience technology?
thank you. Last one from the
I'm just asking about meditation and neuroplasticity. I'm thinking about it being purely organic and the study of the dynamics of neuropsychology and neuroplasticity, and I'm wondering about the interface of that in real terms as an organic reality before we even get into any other technologies such as cyber or mechanic.
Okay. All of that.
Yes, what I'm going to do, I'm going to perhaps ask you a little bit, I may have to remember what the questions were. Regarding your question about what the connection is, to me, I use the guru-led concept to talk about a contrast with individuality. To me, the idea of meditation is an individual meditation, because that's where you don't need an external structure, and the religion to me is also an external structure. But at the same time, when you start to, it's not a narcissistic view. What I'm trying to talk about is a social view, but a social view driven by an individual who is empowered and voluntarily wishes to connect, as opposed to a cult. Yes, I mean, and often this is an extreme contrast, but I think it is a valid contrast. That I view the individual as sacrosanct, and I view the connections of the individual as meditation through this. This is what I meant to say. But it is 20 minutes, and I'm very conscious that I have to get into 20 slides. So that's okay. The second question was yes. I actually didn't get the exact question. What was it you wanted?
It was more the assertion that conversation here can achieve extreme mindfulness, and it's an art form.
Yes.
In a way, enhancing, because it has a lot of application in real life.
Yeah.
So I want to give you views on that, right?
Okay, now the extreme mindfulness thing, I think I have personally experienced it, because like I said, I use this very much. I didn't talk about the mindfulness aspect of it, because that would have taken us to the meditation of Thich Nhat Hanh and people like that. My view of meditation in this way is almost to augment some of the technology to use that. So it's augmenting the feedback mechanism to reach to mindfulness. And therefore, if people who are used to doing this kind of thing for a while, like me, would find it easier, but somebody who hasn't been used to meditation before would reach the state of mindfulness faster. It's hopefully my mind. Your question was about the latest trends in...
Yeah, the developments from policy, which I used about 10 years ago.
There's a whole lot of stuff in this space. There is a lot of researchers in this space. The potential for me is to make it cheaper and simpler. That's what I was trying to do. So there's NeurSky, there's 2-3 other companies in that space. I forget the names, I can tell you if they want. But to me, anything which makes it cheaper and simpler without having things sticking out of your kind of electrodes kind of stuff is good. So to me, I work with NeurSky, people like that, but there are others, and they're all based on the similar principle of a headset-like thing which uses it forward. But that's the best. And of course, you have a question on
So on the back of the, I'll come clean. I'm a theatre studies undergrad at the University of Warwick, so I'm only 21, I haven't even graduated yet, so I'm kind of, don't know how I made it up here and weed my way in, but it's interesting what you said about improvisational theatre in terms of a process, and what happens, I mean, if it's done properly, what happens with improvisational theatre is it's a space in which you can explore, you know, you can go in and explore what would it be like to live forever, what would it be, you know, these emotional things that have been played out without sort of constructs of reality almost. So it's a space in which to play, you know, what would it feel like to have this attached to my body, you know, you've got improvisers running around with cameras and exploring their identity that way and things, and it's an exciting form, but could you apply some of the themes that are on the H+ agenda and apply that to theatre? And I think, yeah, you can, and have some real fun with it, and let me know if you do it, invite me along, that'd be wicked. Cool.
Just to add to that, as I said, there are external stimulations and internal stimulations for the brain. Meditation is an internal stimulation, but it becomes a point where external and internal become one because of the spectrum. You put information into your brain thinks about that information and then transmits it to other parts of the brain, and then you actively and purposefully think about that information. That's meditation. And of course, I was suggesting to some of my patients to use not only meditation but other similar techniques, including positive thinking, mindfulness training, and quite a few other exercises which we can discuss later if you want.
The last question still hasn't really been addressed, which is that surely there's plenty to go in terms of just traditional and quite recent methods of looking at the brain without needing to delve more into technology. Why do we delve into technology when there's still lots of previous disciplines which are quite fruitful and haven't been fully utilised?
My short answer to that is I looked at a whole bunch of that research, the brain plasticity, and there's the whole, most of that research initially has come from curing specific things like ADHD, something like that. My son had epilepsy, and this was partly my motivation to look into that space. But I think that what we're talking about here, and to kind of answer to the gentleman in the front, was to me, when it becomes a game, when it becomes a hack, when it becomes available to everybody, that's the key difference. I don't think there is a difference in the science or the technology, it's just that it's getting cheaper. That's my answer.
Okay. Any other questions? Gentleman there.
Okay, question to Marios. There's quite a lot of science, as you've said, suggesting that environmental enrichment does massively increase neurogenesis, so the creation of new brain cells, and also that it can cause epigenetic changes. Obviously, there's stressful things in the environment that can cause negative changes to those as well. But even if we change our environment so that it's really positive, causing more neurogenesis and good epigenetic changes, how could environmental enrichment solve the other aspects of aging, which are sort of classified by people like Aubrey de Grey? Things like intracellular debris, stuff like that.
Yeah.
Okay. First of all, my approach is rather different from existing approaches like Aubrey's. I believe that nature will affect those changes, not people. But to just answer your question, the environmental enrichment does affect other parts of the brain. It does affect chronic inflammation processes, for example, which are related to aging. It does upregulate free radical fight damage. It reduces apoptosis, the rate of apoptosis. In other words, the rate of loss of cells is reduced through environmental enrichment. So although the majority of research now has been done on the benefits of the brain, there is quite a lot of other research coming up that shows that it does affect other parts of the brain, of the body, that have any relevance to aging.
While people are thinking about additional questions, I'm going to invoke Chairman's privilege and ask one of my own here. We heard from David earlier on the sort of challenges and the questions about the sort of near-term future of humanity. You've all come at this from